All right. We departed Athens for Tirana on a sunny day. The flight took unusually long to take off because all the Albanians insisted that they must sit with their family members on the 1 hour flight, which was funny, but it was silly. We touched down in Tirana with hungry bellies. We moseyed along to the supermarket where we collected ingredients and head to our newly booked apartment to begin cooking dinner. The outside looked very derelict, but on the inside, it was lovely. We cooked chili chorizo pasta, drank beer, and had a fine time. The morning arose, and for it was time to depart on a little
we can
bus
see you
van
up
to
there.
a village called Theth, although we had a few stops along the way. On the little van, we met our friend Sulej, alongside many other Albanians who warmly welcomed us to Albania. We passed through the country of Kosovo, which was very interesting, and it seemed like many parts of it were stuck in the past, but in an epic cool way, almost like Brookside in 2010. Also, our good friend Sulej has opened up a coffee gaming lavash store in Tirana, so I'm going to put the address in the caption of this video. Go visit if you're ever in Albania, it's great. We reached this totally random town in the middle of nowhere, although it was very beautiful. We needed to directly get to Theth. We wondered and pondered until a muffly old van came speeding down the street with an old man yelling, "Theth, Theth, Theth." So we hailed him over, hopped in this random man's van alongside many other elder Albanians that must have been going on a journey too. He drove incredibly crazy. It was super scary, and he was driving in the wrong lane around mountain bends, going like 5 million kilometers per hour. It reminded me of Harry Potter, like when he gets on the bus and those talking heads say, "It's gonna be a bumpy ride." Sorry about that. Okay. We luckily made it to Theth in one piece. Now that we were here, we had to find our accommodation. We walked through grassy mountain land and perched atop a hill with two old men lying in the grass smoking cigarettes. They hailed us to come over, so we did. We joined them in cigarettes and partook in drinking water. At this point, we were ready to sleep and feast, so on we went to our village house. It felt like we were in Resident Evil and that a ghost was going to eat me in my sleep. Alas, we rose for the next day and we were fed infinite Balkan breakfast by our hosts. Then we walked an incredibly far distance, like so far, just following the sound of a stream and through the forest, because we wanted to find a suitable place for us to swim and relax. The water was absolutely freezing, but it was epic. Then, the next day, our host drove us to the beginning of the trail where we began our 9 hour hike to Valbonne. It was really hard, but it was also really fun. We ran into a wild tortoise and a kitten, which was really nice, and we ate watermelon overlooking valleys. We reached Valbonne, and I got electrocuted in a shower, and I thought I was going to die. I literally went and like folded over. I thought I was going to die. And my friends told me to shut up and stop worrying about it, which they were correct because I didn't die, but it was really fucking scary because I went on ChatGPT and it was like Brazilian people dying in formal hot water systems every day. Whatever. And then we drunk for multiple days and made many friends. Now, one of these friends was an Irish lady whom offered to drive us all the way back to Toronto as we needed to catch a flight from there. We didn't know where to yet, just that we needed to catch a flight. So we woke up in the morning and hopped in two different cars with our newly made Irish, American, and Australian friends. It could have been from other nationalities too, honestly. And laughed and joked and drove all the way back to Toronto with one of the possibly worst hungovers I've ever had in my life. It was torturous, but the landscape was beautiful. Then our Irish friend took us to KFC. She was an absolute lifesaver and an angel. Then to a lake where we napped for a few hours amongst the grass. Then she took us to the airport as we decided it was time to go to Paris. Yeah. This photo of me and Jack on top of the mountain, I look really uncomfortable because you can't really tell in the photo, but it's literally like you're on the edge of a cliff. If you fell even the tiniest bit off one side, you're gonna like die, fall off the cliff. It was really stressful when I was wearing Timberlands that were way too big for me. It was stressful. Also, the majority of these photos are literally just from the hike. I don't have photos for the majority of all our time in Albania. And thanks for watching. Tune in tomorrow for I don't know what country's next. I'm gonna have to check. That's when I was in the shower before I got electrocuted. That's when I was stacking bottles before we left. And that's on the plane to Paris. See you tomorrow.